All right, so we are going to kick our first episode off with a bang, and it's perfect because I was telling Jonathan, how cool would it be if sometimes, I don't know how often, but we talked about like what's in the news, especially regarding health. We're not going to discuss all the news because that would be absolutely exhausting. But the headlines this week are about Tylenol. And if you are on social media at all, surely you have seen the wildness of what's going on. So I have to be totally honest though, I haven't even read a lot into it. All I know is that our administration put out a statement that Tylenol should not be taken while you're pregnant as it can contribute to autism and ADHD, I believe. You know what? Let me just look it up so I'm not, talking out of my butt. Tylenol autism update. News about Tylenol autism. So much controversy around this. But I want to find like the official statement. FDA warns of Tylenol autism risk, plans label update for pain reliever. I also saw a tweet, I think, that Tylenol posted. Who knows if it's fake? I do not. What is the saying Jonathan always tells me? Believe half of what you see and none of what you hear, or something like that. But who knows? The tweet could be fake, but if it's real, they posted in 2017 that they do not recommend Tylenol for pregnant women. So on a Monday press conference, President Donald Trump announced that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration will send a letter warning doctors that Tylenol, officially known as I don't know how to say it, acetaminophen, could be associated with an increased risk of autism. The FDA has also moved to update the popular pain relievers label with information on a potential autism connection. Now, that drug, the scientific name of that drug, is not only in Tylenol. There's many different brands and like medicines that contain that drug. Okay, I just want to be clear about that. In recent years, evidence has accumulated suggesting that the use of that drug by pregnant women may be associated with an increased risk of neurological conditions such as autism and ADHD in children. Some studies have described that the risk may be most pronounced when it is taken chronically throughout pregnancy to childbirth. So that would mean like taking it mostly every day. The FDA cited multiple studies that it says suggest a correlation between Tylenol use during pregnancy and later diagnoses of autism and ADHD in impacted children. Tylenol is currently the only over-the-counter drug that is approved to treat fevers during pregnancies. But this says that Tylenol pushes back on the claims. So I don't know if that tweet was real or not. So anyways, that's the gist of the news, right? But if you get on social media, it truly is a circus. And I was just talking about this on my stories. I didn't want to like make a big deal about it because this isn't something I'm super passionate about. But then I was like, I wanted this to be like a topic of the podcast. So let me talk about it on there. My thoughts in a nutshell, and maybe more will come to me as I chat with you guys. My first thought was, number one, there are all of these women, if you haven't seen, there are all of these pregnant women who obviously have a hatred for Trump, are making videos like on TikTok mainly of them pregnant taking Tylenol and just kind of like sticking it to the man. Like, I don't care what you say, I'm going to take Tylenol while I'm pregnant. And my initial thought with that is sadness, because if it had been another president that they didn't hate, would they take it more seriously? So I feel sadness in my heart because they these women have so much hatred for our president that they are willing to potentially cause harm to themselves or their unborn child just because they hate the messenger so much. To me, that seems like the enemy at work like no other. I honestly can understand why people like dislike President Trump. Like, I can put myself in other people's shoes and get it, okay? Um but anyways, I cannot fathom disliking someone that much to where I don't take anything they say seriously, because in my mind, what if he actually cares? Because I don't see what he has to gain from putting this information out there other than he's trying to help people. So then the other side of this is there's a big movement right now in the past, I don't know, decade, but especially in the past 5 years of like support for the autism community. And I think that's absolutely incredible. But at the same time, it is okay. When people receive a diagnosis, it becomes their identity. It becomes who they are, and their life revolves around this new identity that they are given by a doctor. And I have fallen into this myself. I've never been diagnosed with ADHD. I probably could be. I fit plenty of the criteria for ADHD. So I self-diagnosed myself, and I have made videos and claims of, oh, my ADHD, this. And it can definitely become an identity, and it can definitely become like this new like mask that you wear. And I learned a lot about this in some of the transformation work that I've done, where this becomes your identity, right? So this diagnosis of autism and or ADHD becomes someone's identity. And when it's your identity, it truly feels like, or not feels like, but it becomes this mask, and it becomes who you are. So if someone or something threatens that belief and that identity that you have become so accustomed to, and it has become who you are, it has become your life, it is the only life that you know now, you are comfortable in it, it's where you feel safe, you have a community. So if someone comes out and says anything to threaten that identity, people are going to freak out. So I think that's part of what I see happening. And mothers with children who are autistic or are on the spectrum may also feel like their children are being attacked, or their mothering skills are being attacked if they have taken Tylenol while pregnant. And I'm not speaking from as a doctor, obviously, or a parent with a child who is autistic. I have not had that experience. But I have had the experience of having an identity that I did not want to let go of. And I have had the experience of ADHD, absolutely have. And again, my daughter has not been diagnosed with ADHD, but I could almost guarantee that she could be. And I, as a mother, have done a lot of research on ADHD and autism. And I believe that there are root causes to these diagnoses and disorders. And I don't think that they have to be as prevalent as they are. So some people say, well, the numbers are rising because we are getting better at catching it early and diagnosing it early. Okay, fine. I can consider that as a possibility. But there are so many testimonies from moms out there who their children have been diagnosed with autism, say that they have delayed speech, they don't speak, they have other symptoms of autism, and then they make certain lifestyle changes, they do certain detoxes, and then all of a sudden they have a new child. That to me is something that we can't just ignore. Or on the flip side, a mom has a perfectly normal, there's no normal, but normal consider in like medical terms, on track, healthy child, baby, and then they receive a vaccine and they all of a sudden overnight are not speaking like they were, or not walking, or not making eye contact. That's another thing that we have to take into consideration. And I know that this news isn't about vaccines, but it's just part of the possible root causes of these diagnoses that are being discussed. So I didn't even know that Tylenol was a problem during pregnancy. I didn't when Trump said during Charlie Kirk's memorial that there was like big news coming out on Monday, I thought it was going to have to do with vaccines. I had no idea it was going to be with Tylenol, or that drug that is Tylenol. So that was really surprising to me. And I know that there has been a lot of like question about how doctors recommend giving your baby Tylenol before they come in for their vaccines and after, to help treat any possible side effects. And a lot of people have spoken out about how they think that's part of the problem that could result in vaccine injury. So those are my two main like thoughts on the subject. Is the sadness that I feel for the pregnant women who have so much hatred for our president that they are willing to possibly cause harm to themselves or their baby. And some people would say, well, autism there's nothing bad about it. It's not wrong. We should embrace it. We should enjoy it. But like, I get that. I get it. But the pendulum just swings way too far, because I want to speak to the mother who has like a nonverbal child with autism who has serious like anger and behavioral issues, and they have struggled severely with their child with autism. Like, let's hear from those parents who maybe don't see it as a gift. And I can understand why that is, especially knowing all that you know about the pharmaceutical industry and the food and the hospitals and the way that medicine is. There are many things that can contribute and cause these disorders. And I don't think that it's just better diagnoses. I will be bold and I will say that. I don't think that that's all that it is. I don't. Because I have heard from way too many moms and been a part of way too many conversations in real life, not just on social media, in real life, to where we have to consider the possibility of environmental factors causing these disorders. So I think with this news, I'm trying to like think of some wisdom. Let's not be so extreme. So to the pregnant women who hate Trump so much that they just want to like gargle down Tylenol just like to prove a point, that to me is so sad. Just stop and think, like, is my hatred for this president enough for me to do something like this to my baby? Or to me? And even if you don't believe that it's causing any harm, like, what is the why? Like, what is the point? I encourage you, if you're listening to this, you probably won't be, but just like sit with yourself for a second and think, is it really worth it? You know, and be open. Be open to hearing from other moms and having other perspectives on all of this, because there are so many different perspectives and experiences out there. And to me, those far outweigh the science, because I'm sorry to say a lot of our research and science is very corrupt. Just like everything these days, it's corrupt, and funding comes from places that allows for things to be done in a way that isn't always honest. So that's what I say to those people. And if your identity as a human, if you are someone who experiences autism and ADHD, this is not an attack on you or your child. If your child has been diagnosed, it's not an attack on you. I don't even know what Trump verbally said, but if you felt attacked, I'm sorry. But this isn't. This is like what so many people in the Maha movement have been fighting for, is for us to be aware of the possible risks of these things that we have been told forever are okay and are safe, when in reality so many things aren't. Like, I don't remember if I took Tylenol during either of my pregnancies. I would guess that I didn't, but who knows? It's hard to remember. It's been going on 7 years now, since my last pregnancy. I did plenty of other things that were unsafe that I was told were safe, and then I didn't do things that I was told were unsafe that really aren't that unsafe. But anyways, I had C-sections with both of them, and I was breastfeeding after, and I was given Tylenol with codeine for pain. And I thought at the time, like, how on earth is it okay for me to be taking, I think that's considered a narcotic, to be taking this and then breastfeeding? Like, in my mind, I was like, how is this okay? And I was told it was okay, but it wasn't. And I don't know what I would have done for pain. I mean, maybe the risk outweighs the pain in that. But it's just, okay, the whole point of my platform is about truth, right? So, and it's about bringing information to people so that they can make an informed decision. But if we don't have the information in the first place, we cannot make an informed decision. So I want us to have as much information as possible so that then we can make the best decision for us. But if we aren't even aware of the risks and of the potential side effects of something that we're doing, then we have no power to make a different choice, and we have no opportunity to protect ourselves from potential risk. And this is with medication, pregnancy, food, EMFs, radiation, like from x-rays and airports, and the Bluetooth devices that we're exposed to, our phones, headphones. This is all of the foods that are causing harm to our body that have no warning label, all of the medications and pharmaceuticals that might have a warning label, but we aren't told to read it, or we aren't told those verbally by our doctors, or we aren't told to take them seriously. And that's the same for vaccines. So that is the point of what I do. And that is the point that I want people to see, is that this is about providing information that empowers you to make an informed decision rather than blindly trusting your doctor, your government, the food manufacturers, the grocery stores, the schools, anyone. We should not blindly trust anyone besides Jesus, our creator. We should not. We should demand as much information as possible, and we should seek out as much information as possible from trusted sources before we make a decision, especially a decision that is going to impact our health and our children's health and the quality of life that we will have, or the quality of life that our children will have. So if you are someone who is totally content and you think that ADHD and autism is just a way of life and it's part of it and we're just better at diagnosing it and it's always going to be here and there's no root cause, fine. But if you are a mom who is like, there's just something that doesn't seem right here, and I want all of the information that I can get, you are my people. And you are why I do this. And I just want to empower you to ask those questions, seek out the information. You are not crazy. You are not the majority, but you are not crazy for wanting to know and wanting answers and wanting as much information as you can get in order to make an informed decision about your health and about your children's health. So I think that's all I have to say on this subject. We're at 20 minutes, and I think that was a good amount of time. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on this. This is not something I'm looking to debate about, but I'm always open to like different ideas or angles or just different perspectives that others have on this, because I sure as heck don't know everything. This is just my thoughts and my ideas on the subject. So I'm so excited, by the way, because this is literally maybe episode 1 or 2, depending if I do like an intro episode. But this is the first full episode I have recorded of the Rooted and Real podcast, guys. So welcome. I'm so excited to be on this journey with all of you. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. Watch out for more like it. And I will see you guys soon. God bless you and have a beautiful day. Bye.